Better? Okay. So this, what we're doing today, can be done very, very easily. Foolproof, you cannot make any mistakes, it's easy, it's going to be delicious, or you can take it to more levels. So I'm going to show you everything. The complicated one is actually the veggie. So it's important to know how many people here will do the veggie stuff. Let me know later. The first thing that we want to do, we have the rice, and we have the lentils that we're going to use for the veggie if we want. But then we have peppers that we're going to fill, and we have potatoes that we're going to put at the bottom of the pot. And the reason for that, and actually it's a good idea for anything that you put on the stove, if the heat is too high, you will not burn whatever it is that you do if you put on the bottom some potatoes. And if the heat is too high, it will only be caramelized and delicious because potato really doesn't get bitter that easily. So we are going to put slices of potatoes on the bottom of the pot, even though most likely we will do it in the oven. First thing first, we want to take an onion, the biggest onion you have, and we want to put it in a plastic bag, a supermarket plastic bag. Luckily, I have one right here. And I'm going to put it into the plastic bag. Before we put it in the plastic bag, what we want to do, these we are going to fill. We want to cut the onion, not on the way through, just half it. Yes, we can peel it. It's even better if you peel it before. Thank you, Adas, for reminding me. That's the time excited. We peel it. If we don't peel it, it will not change much. You can also peel it after, but it's, why do we need the extra layer if we don't need the extra layer, what I say. So I'm going to take this out. The reason I didn't prepare it ahead of time, and maybe I will know for the next time, is because I didn't know if people are going to do it with me as we do it, so I cannot cheat and prepare things ahead of time and do those. So what we...
Can you... We're losing your Wi-Fi, I think.
Is it better?
Yeah. Hadass, try turning the phone the other way. We might see a bigger angle of you.
Like that?
Yeah. Better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
Great.
Okay, so now what you want to do, you want to cut it not all the way, not like that. You want to cut it like this, just to the middle and all the way through, like that. So it has like an angry face, or actually it's a kind of a face, but it's not a nice face. So and then we put it in the bag. We close the bag like that, and we close it. We make holes so we don't get the explosions. A hole here, and I think one hole is enough. And we put it in the microwave for 10 minutes.
5 is enough.
5 minutes.
Yeah,
Right. One onion.
One onion.
5 minutes. 5 minutes is fine. So it's very easy on this one. You just put 5, and that's it. Simple. As this goes, garbage bag. So in the meantime, I'm going to saute some onions and cut them, and we are going to make, this is the one onion that is, some onions are very easy to peel, and some onions give you a hard time and hardship. I found the same thing with clementines and with oranges. These are medium to hard, but not very hard. So we want to saute these with onions, and these are going to be used for the filling of the veggie one. But if we don't, we can always throw it in the pot, and that's fine too. So we go back to the here, and we put some oil. A little bit more than a tablespoon, I would say 2 tablespoons or something like that. And we put it on high like that. And we are going to saute soon. In the meantime, I'm cutting the onions. The onions don't need to be cut fine because this is going to go to the food processor. So I'm cutting it like this, and that's enough. We just want to a little bit brown them. Oy. Yeah. Whoops. And this is a dust. Okay. So we cut these onions, chick-chack. In Hebrew, chick-chack means fast, quick. Yalla, chick-chack. Usually chick-chack comes with the word yalla before. That means let's go. Yalla, chick-chack. Okay, we cut it like this. Doesn't have to be precise or any shape. We just want to saute them a little bit inside and soften them and caramelize them maybe a little bit just to make them. Okay, we have that. We don't want the peel, so I'm going to put the peel in the garbage as we move on. Like that. This goes here. This goes here. The bag that I put the onions was meant actually for the garbage. So I throw this here, and I put these here. Okie dokie. And we put them right here, and we let them sweat a little bit. Just sweat a little bit, and they will be soft and nice. It's not that hot, I can hold it with my hand. And we put it like this, and this one was not peeled too well because I was excited. That's fine. Put it like this, put the heat, and now we go there. And we cut one onion, one pepper. For that, I'll take a yellow pepper. Here is a big yellow pepper. Obviously, you remove the head, you take off the inside of it, like that. And then you just cut it to slices. We just want to soften it up. When we use meat, we have to fill it somehow with other things. So in this case, we just use peppers to give us volume. And we use the lentils that gives us the proteins, the flavor, the texture, and the whole thing. Now this is the harder version. The meat version is very easy. So those who want to do the meat, just stay tuned. And as this is going to cook a little bit and saute, we are going to do the meat, which is, as I said, much easier. It doesn't require any frying or anything on the stove. So we go here, and then I put it right there. And I just mix it a little bit, like that. And we want to let it sweat. We want to add a little bit oil, just a little bit. The reason is it will help with the texture of this thing. That's it. And it goes. And you see, sometimes somebody sneaks in, and this is a peel from one of the onions. We don't want that. It gets stuck in teeth. That's it. And this is going to go here, and I'm going to reduce the heat. And I'm going to let this, we want this until it gets kind of yellowish or even transparent. What we add to that, we will add these if we want. So there are two options to do that. One option is to make the onions and the peppers and put them in the food processor to get like a paste. This we mix with the rice and with the lentils. So you can have, you fill the lentils as one by one. It will also, if the rice is dry a little bit, it will not hold very well, possible. But the other option is to add the whole thing in, put the whole thing in the food processor, and then we get like a thick paste that almost reminds you of the ground beef. And I like that way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do half. Half of it I will put in like that. Inside. A little bit more. Yeah, that's fine. And I'm going to mix it in and let it saute slowly and nicely, and let it sweat a little bit. I will even cover this and let it do its thing. To that, I'm adding 1 teaspoon of salt. Flavor-wise, we're making those simple. We are adding 1 teaspoon of salt. Like that, you want to spread it nicely. And half a teaspoon of the black pepper. Half a teaspoon won't do much. This is a spoon. I'm putting around half a teaspoon. We don't care if it's a little bit hotter, but if you are sensitive, you want to go with half teaspoon exactly. And we cover this. I'm going to put it like that. I'm going to add a little bit of boiled water just so nothing burns on me. Like that. Just a little bit. That's it. I give it another stir, like that. And I'm going to cover this. Sorry. With that. Whatever.
That's okay.
Okay. Now we can leave it aside on like 4. Let it do its thing. The onion. This onion is ready. It's very, very, very hot. So what we want to do, we want to wash it a little bit. Otherwise, if we touch it, we're going to get a burn.
Just let it cool.
Yeah, but my water will cool it quicker because we have to do it very soon. So I'm giving it like a little bit of spritz of water, like that. And that's it. And we don't need the bag anymore. Put it aside, and that's it. Now we take another onion. You know, we have either a very big onion or a very small one. So I'm going to take a little bit more than half of this onion. And this we're going to use for the fillings of the ground beef one. As I said, the ground beef one doesn't involve anything, any frying, any complicated headaches. But it's not veggie. We cut half of it. Let's see, like that. Like that. And throw the rest here. Later we'll pick it up. We have a food processor. And in the food processor, I'm going to put the onions. What we want, actually, we want a lot of juices. And these juices are absorbed into the rice and give it all the flavor. So we don't need pieces of onion, we just want the flavor and the juices. It's much better than the rice will absorb juices from the onion versus just the water. So we want as much flavor as we can give. So we use the onion. Definitely, you can use garlic. Some use, some don't. I didn't try garlic because you don't have to have garlic. but we like garlic, so we will throw 2 cloves of garlic. Did anybody say 3? I'll put 3. So we throw 3 garlics inside. Then we want to add some parsley. How much parsley is enough parsley? That depends on your taste, but I would say 1 cup, equivalent of 1 cup of parsley for this amount is enough.
Maybe just give it another rinse because I'm not sure that, and you don't want
the reason that you want to rinse those parsley is because of the hidden sand. Sometimes there is sand in the parsley, and this can drive you nuts when you put it in your mouth. So that's it. This is going to be for our juices. We add a little bit of oil. Even though we can add the oil later on, but at any stage you want to add a little bit of oil. So remember, when you see oil, let's say, for example, I put oil in that with the onions and everything, and it may look like a lot, 2 tablespoons or something like that. Always remember that it goes by weight and percentage. So when you buy regular ground beef, it's like 15% fat. That's a lot of fat. When you buy chicken, it's very, very little. And in tuna, almost 0. So when you take something like this, that you have a lot of onions with 0 fat, rice, no fat, everything here, no fat, it's okay to use more olive oil or regular oil, and you can be generous, and still you are creating a not fattening dish, because percentage-wise, it's not a lot. So we do this, we heat the on, and now we put the... Let's see, I don't see the cover for that, but let's see what's going on here. See, these continue to do their thing. The onions are already softer, much softer. And actually it's ready, but I will leave it a little bit more, longer. Very good. And this, okay, and this is ready, and this is how it looks. It looks like tahini with the parsley. If you mix tahini with parsley, that's the color that you get. But don't get mistaken. Don't taste it. It's very, very strong. It's just onion and garlic and parsley. Now we want to see what we want to do. So here I have 2 cups of rice. I said 1 cup for a reason. Here I have 2 cups of rice. This rice I covered with water and let it sit for 2 hours or so. And the reason for that, we want the rice to be a little bit with water before we start and absorb a little bit. And the reason is, once you fill it, and if you have more rice relatively to the meat, so it's a lot more of, especially the veggie one, if it's too ricey, once it's in the pepper, for example, it's going to expand, and eventually it will burst out if it get too much volume. Once you put the water in it, it does expand in volume, and this helps when you fill it not to overfill. So, and it's nice, and it's good that it's wet, because you're going to use it, it's going to get wet anyway. So I'm going to use half of it and put it here. That's approximately 1 cup of rice. This is 1 cup of rice, approximately. And remember, with my dishes, you don't need to be precise. As long as you follow the direction and you taste, I always say, I will never tell you to taste garlic. I'll never ask you to taste something like this. But the final product, just before you put it for a long cook, taste it, see how it feels. So I'm going to put the whole thing here inside. Make it even more wet, and I'm going to fill this. This is going to be for all the things that we are going to fill that are not veggie. And I will tell you this, the veggie is going to be very close by texture and by flavor and flavor to the meat one. I'll tell you, I gave my son Daniel two. He wasn't sure which one is what. Was what? The one with the meat or the one without? So I'm mixing it like this, getting some type of a good consistency, and then right after that, I will add the meat. So this is our meat. We have here approximately 1 pound, Adas. We have here, yeah, around 1 pound. 1 pound of meat. We take this, we throw it right in. So you see the ratio. I would say the ratio by volume is almost half. Yeah, I think it's half the total volume. And we want to mix it. Now you can mix it with this, but it won't work very well. It's possible. The best way is to do it by hand. But I'm not sure that I want it to stick to my hand that much. But you know what? I'll do it then. So I'm going to mix it like this. But what you can do it with a fork. It's a little bit, you know, you just have to mix it. And actually it's fun. It's very therapeutic. I'll tell you that. See, you just make the whole thing, you mix it like that. You can mix it with the fork. If you want the best way, then you can do it in the mixer. But that's overkill. I mean, it will get good results, but it's another dish to clean, which we don't want. So this is almost completely done. You see, it goes like that, and that's it. That's the whole thing, almost. Because here we have meat, we have onions, we have rice. We need this too. This is a tomato paste. We put a 1 pack of tomato paste right in here.
Use a spoon.
Sometimes it goes, but it doesn't.
No, use the spoon.
Okay. I have this here. So we put the whole thing here. And as I said, you don't have to put the whole thing. You can put half. If you put half of this, it will still be delicious.
All right, so no matter what happens, they can be dog.
Can you unmute? It got muted.
I'll do this still. Since my hands are anyway dirty, I will continue. Do this. Now, to that, now when we have the tomato paste, and now when we have the onion, this becomes very soft. It's not as thick and hard as the ground beef. Ground beef, you know, if it's cold from the refrigerator, it's hard. It's not nice to play with. But with this has a much nicer consistency to work with. And this is why I'm going to mix the salt that I'm going to add into this now and not before. So we have that. I'm going to move as much as I can like that. I know it doesn't look that appealing, but I like to work with my hands because I get the feeling of what I do. I'm going to wash my hands very quick. And like that. And all the oils from the meat, you know, they stuck to the hand. Meat has a lot of oil in it. And that's a problem. I shouldn't have done it. Very, very oily. We want to add 1 teaspoon of salt. Like that. I will add a little bit, another half, because we like it a little bit. If you put a teaspoon and a half, it will not make it salty. It will be a little bit salty here, but not salty. And we want to mix it in like that. And now it's very easy to mix it, as you can see. Even with a small, thin spatula, everything breaks nicely, and it's very, very easy to mix. And as I said, if you don't mind to make another dish dirty, throw it. If you have a mixer, put it in the mixer. It will take 2 seconds. But this is ready to go. This is ready to feel and to enjoy. Unless you want also pepper. Some people like it with pepper. I like it with pepper. We add a little bit pepper. So we want to use half a teaspoon of pepper for very, very mild flavor of pepper. That's it. And I'm going to mix it like that. And you know, you think a cup of rice doesn't seem like much, but look, from a cup of rice and a little bit of ground beef, that didn't look that much. You have here a big bowl. That's a lot. You can do a lot of things with it, and very, very delicious. And actually, we didn't do here anything that can produce a not tasty product. I mean, it's not fancy. We didn't put any fancy or exotic spices that one may like or one may not like. The garlic is a matter of flavor, taste, but one or two really don't change that much. So once you have this and you went through this, I mean, it's not that difficult. You can continue on. Now I'm going to do the veggie. So I'm going to give a very mild rinse to the food processor. And the reason is, you know, we used it already on good things that we like. It's not that we did here inside this dish anchovies or something. It's anyway onions, so we can use the same thing. I'm going to put it here, like that. It will fit. It fits. And these, look how transparent they look now. You see, much more transparent. That's it. And this thing, I'm going to put, yes, I'm going to put right here, hot. Right here. And it goes like this, and you can see the bottom is a little bit black. It was a little bit too hot, but nothing is really burned. Lentils also don't burn easily, and they don't get bitter easily. But, and again, if I would have done it, I would look more often into it. Now, in this thing, again, this is a different feeling from that. I don't remember, I think we did add salt and we did add pepper, so this is ready here. So we can just grind this one here. And the same thing, we want to put the parsley. We wash it like this. And again, if you think about it, what you see here, only good things. You have peppers, and you have lentils, and you have onion, sauteed onion. Everybody loves that. And again, the question about the garlic, if you like it or not. And we're going to close it, and we want to add, we don't need to add any more oil. We're going to dip it. Let's see. Ooh, look at the steam. This is great. Look how nice it gets all the smells. We want to mix this with the rest of the rice that we have. And this is going to be for the veggie one. And the veggie one, again, is also very, very good. It just requires a little bit more steps. And then you take this and you put it right in. All this thing, it looks like a bed avocado, but ignore the color. It's just the combination. When you mix yellow and brown, green, you may get not the nicest color. But you don't go by look. And actually, once it's inside whatever you're going to fill, it's going to be very, very different. Especially when we are going to add to it some tomato paste. Another one. We need another one. We have another tomato paste?
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I said 2 tomato pastes, and the reason was because I thought people will do either veggie or not veggie. But because I am doing both, I will use both cans. And where was the one that
You need
the red one?
Yeah, but you don't want
But it
to.
has meat in it, so we want to wash it.
No, but it's fine.
No,
You don't care.
you're right. If I'm getting, yeah. Just in case I give it to somebody that doesn't eat at all meat, this is going to go. I'm going to do the par together.
So use a dairy one or a cow.
Yeah, that's the. Goes to the same place. They're all going. The par and the meat are going to be at the same pot. And these are, anyway, our meat dishes. And it goes like that. This, and we mix this in, the whole thing. I don't remember if we did add the salt to this one. The salt and the pepper, yes, pan. We did. Good. So we mix it like this. And look how this is very wet. You can tell that this is wet because we have a lot of things going on. You don't need a lot of water when you do something like this to get the rice good. And the reason is when you're just doing white rice, you use between 1.5 to 2 cups of water to the 1 cup of rice. But here, this is already very, very wet. So we will use water. It will be wetter than normal, than regular white rice. And it should be much stickier than the stuffed vegetables are not like regular rice that you eat, that each grain is by itself. Usually, it will be either sticky and mushy, almost mushy, that you're supposed, once you put the bite, it's supposed to melt in your mouth. And sometimes you can see the grains, but you don't want really that it will be completely dry. As imagine if you will take a grape leaf, you take white rice that you already prepared, put it in. It's not the way that it's supposed to be. And when you buy the canned grape leaves, they are way drier than they are supposed to be. They feel, even if you see the grains separated or not, it's still very dry. And this is done. This is for the veggie. This is for the veggie. As I promised, I'm going to do an experiment because I don't think that it can cause any damage. I'm going to take some lentils like this, free, and throw them in. I mean, how bad can it be? They just put them in, throw them in to give some volume. And we are ready to fill. Almost. Remember, as I said, we are going to put everything in the stove. And at least for the beginning. And the bottom can get a little bit scorched. So if you put the onions on the bottom and the grape leaves and the pepper, they may scorch, don't want that. So I thought about an idea. What I do is that I cut potatoes, slices, not very thin, like that, just slices of potato, and I arrange them on the bottom of the pot. And what it does, this creates a barrier. That creates a barrier between the very hot pot, bottom of the pot, and the veggies. And the bonus that you get out of it is that those potatoes are going to be delicious because they're going to drink anything that drops on them from above. They're going to drink from the onions, and they're going to drink from the pepper, everything that goes. These are going to drink. So we're going to set them in a nice pot. We have to decide on a pot.
Yeah, but first you need the onion, and before you set the potatoes, you forgot a step.
What step?
You need to saute onions and then tomato paste.
But
yeah,
that's for the right.
Yeah, that's what you meant.
An important part. Yeah, very important. So I will take a pot. This one, I maybe this one. This one?
Yeah.
Or this one too big? No, let's do this one because we want more surface. This is that. I'm taking our biggest pot, and I will explain why. This is our biggest pot, and I will explain why I'm using the biggest. Because you want the bottom to be as big, the biggest, so you have only one layer and you don't have another layer, few layers. So I'm going to throw the onions here. Even though I take the liberty to say, even though this is part of the dish, the onions that you put at the bottom, and you fry them, and you put you saute them, and you add the oil and the tomato paste. Even if you didn't do that and just use water and cook them in water, they will be delicious because you have a lot of flavor inside the dish. So where did I put the oil? Here's the oil. Once again, we're doing the same thing, putting the oil, putting the heat. Thinking about it now, I should have, thinking about it now, what I should have done was to make double before, because I did saute onions before. So usually you don't need to do it twice. It's only because this is not something that I usually do. But we want to saute the onions. Let's put these here in the meantime. I don't care that they're on the lentils, because even if the lentil will stick to it, it's not a big deal. That's fine. I'm going to put this in. Let it stir it a little bit with this one. Like that, I'm just stirring it in a little bit like that. I want to saute them a little bit. Just get them to the zone, the right zone. And again, it looks very oily, but this is nothing in a pot like this. It's really very, very insignificant. I want to saute these. And as I saute them a little bit, and we could skip this now. We're going to do some fillings. Now we are going to do some fillings because we really don't need to prepare the pot now. We can let it go. We take the things that we want to fill, start from the easy to the difficult. So the easiest thing to fill, actually all of them are very easy to fill, but the easiest thing to fill is obviously the pepper, because really just open it, put it in, and that's it. So what we want to do, you want to cut the top, but you don't want to cut it all the way. You want to cut it almost all the way. You want to go like that, so it has like a head. And the inside, this part, you just throw outside, right here.
I'm just going to lower the heat.
Very good.
Yeah, it's cool. It will burn.
Thank you, Ada.
Sure.
Okay, we have another, let's make another small one. You don't want a million of these. And see, it has a head, and then you close it like this. It's so nice. And we take the inside here. As a quick recap of what we did now, because it looks so many things, and this, if you just wanted to fill peppers, you just need to mix the meat and the rice, and before that, just take the onion and the parsley and run it into the food process. So we have these three. We're going to fill them. How do we fill them? Well, you take a tablespoon like this, take it like that, and you just want to fill it in 3/4. Even less, but that's enough. Like that. But if you put it like this inside, how will the liquid get in? So for that, we have a remedy. You take the fork and you just stab it like that. 4 corners. Stab it all the way. That's it. So this one is ready. Let's put another one. Like that. But this is the veggie one.
No, that's a meat.
That's the meat?
I think.
You sure?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
See, you cannot even tell almost.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this one, show them the other one.
Yeah.
See, they're almost all the same. Okay, so we fill it almost all the way. Even though I'll tell you that this is not going to expand that much because the ratio of the paste versus the rice is, you see, the rice is fine. I could even fill it, no problem. I don't see that there will be a problem with this one. The worst case, it will just go up. And the last one, we're going to do with the ground beef.
With the veggie.
This is the veggie?
Yeah.
Okay. On this. Yep. So this is, we did this. So this is the veggie. Ah, it is the veggie because it's much lighter. Much lighter. Immediately I could tell that this is a veggie. That's it. You tap it a little bit, you see, and it even say something, the pepper, and it's ready. But we have to make holes. I don't think I did this in this one. 1, 2, 3. You have to be careful not to stab your fingers as you go. But I'm a moel. I am very careful when I do. That's it. Another one. That's it. So now these are the onions. Give it a little stir here. Then it's ready.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to throw in another pack of tomato paste. We'll do that. It will take a second. Remove this. We'll take the automatic can opener. We'll put it like that. Put it like this. And 1, 2, 3, and it goes. So we put the whole can here. There's the red one. So here it is. And we put it right in. You see, easy. 1 of these. We definitely don't throw what is in here. We just fill it with water. And we shake it like that. And then you didn't waste even a little bit. We mix this with a bigger one, with this one, and what we are going to add to this water later. Because first, remember, we have to put the potatoes. To this, we add 1 teaspoon of salt. You remember, you hear a lot about salt here, but this is a very, very big dish. I would say one teaspoon, and half a teaspoon of sugar. We are using half a teaspoon of sugar, and the reason we want to use the sugar is just to break the acidity here. Then, once this is ready, good, we're going to set it aside, turn off the heat.
Maybe a little pepper.
Pepper we will add, right? We can add pepper to this one too if you want. We'll add the pepper. That's equivalent of half a teaspoon. We mix it like that, and that's fine. Now, we put these here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kind of, you know, it doesn't have to be completely. You just want to cover some of it, and we put them here on top. We move it to the other side. like that. And we do. Now, as I said to you, even if you just put water and the tomato paste, it will be fine. You don't have to fry the onions to do the onions. Okay, so we don't have enough potatoes, but it will be fine. The reason it will be fine is because I'm going to put it in the oven actually. Good. Now we're going to learn how to do the onions. I'm going from the easiest to the less easiest. Nothing is hard. If we look at this onion that we that I opened, remember you know onions has peels. Now each one of these layers becomes like a packet of a sort. That's why I ask you to buy the biggest onion you can find. Look at that. And what you do, you just take a tablespoon of this, put it here in the center. Sorry, here. Can you see? You put it in the center, any place. I would say here. This is a very big onion. I can put even more. Like that. You just close it like that and give it a roll. And that's it. It's ready. This is so easy and so quick. You can make millions of them so quickly. You take this, you put right here in the middle. You see? In the meantime, anybody that has questions, this is the time as we go deeper. You see how it looks inside? You put it like that, you close it, not too tight. You want it loose a little bit. Not very loose, but not very firm. And then we take the onion, the big one. This is another big one. And in this one, I'm going to put the veggie. See how it goes. Problem is, I won't know which is what. That's fine. See, I take it like that, and you just roll it like that. It's very easy. And it doesn't have to be complete. It doesn't have to be sealed because we're going to lay them on their side like that. And they're going to slowly, slowly do their thing. And let's do another one. Another veggie. Another veggie boy. Here it is. We put it here like that. See? I'll put a little bit more because this is a very big onion. And we close it, see, like that. And that's it. Okay. So this is the onion. Now we go to the grape leaf. Grape leaf is also very easy. When you buy the grape,
You have to unmute again. We lost your audio. Okay.
Okay.
good? Okay. So these are the grape leaves. A can like that has 80, at least 80 or more grape leaves. There are many, many, many grape leaves in this. Not all of them are good. Some of them are broken a little bit. Some of them are not nice. But whenever you see one that is ugly, just don't throw it. Throw it into the pot with everything else. It will get tasty. Something that is very important, before you use them, you want to wash them. And the reason is not because it's not clean, it's because it's preserved in salt, in saline or of some sort. It's salty water. And if you don't wash it, then your grape leaves will be very, very salty. Trust me, it happened to me once. So you want to give them like a wash under the faucet, and that's it. So this is the grape leaf. The grape leaf has two sides. One is shiny and one is not. This is the shiny side. This is the less shiny, the matte. Sometimes it's more visible, sometimes less. You want to have the matte part facing you and the shiny one down. And if you don't do that, nothing will happen. It will be still delicious, only that they will not be shiny on the outside, but it's still delicious. So how do you feel grape leaves? This is also very, very easy. You take a little, you take something like that, and you put it in here in the middle. If you see the ratio, see, this is the amount. Again, remember, we don't want it to be too tight. Even though this one has so much meat in it and other stuff that this is not going to explode no matter what you do. We take this part and we close it like this, all the way to here. Then, like an envelope, we take the two sides, we pull them in, and continue to roll. And that's it. And it's very, very quick. Once you get into the groove, it takes seconds. You take another one, you put it like this in the middle. I'll do this one slowly again, like that. This is the ratio approximately like that. You want to put it like this, all the way to the end, and it looks like that, like a long cigar. We pull it on both sides, and we close it, like that. We'll do another one. You don't need to do many, but and I have a lot of leftovers that I'm going to continue after the class. Now, this is a very big leaf, so I use more meat, more mix. This is a lot of mix, as you can see. But we don't want to do it too tight. We cover it like that. The sides, and you close it like this, and you put it here. Let's do another one, and that's it. Take it like this. This is a small one. Let's do a veggie one. I wonder how easy it will be to tell when we eat them, which is what, because they both have the same flavorings, except the one veggie has the lentils. Okay, so we put it like this, and we close it. And I'll tell you this, it's very therapeutic, and it goes very, very fast. In no time, you can fill a whole big pot. We have these. We have the onions. Let's see if we can squeeze another onion from this one. Yeah, we can. Now, you'll get to a point, if you use that onion, you'll get to a point that you cannot feel them anymore. And when that happens, just you throw them into the pot to cook with everything. So you have a piece of onion. See? Goes like that. Let's see if I can squeeze another one, because we're really almost done with everything. We have time. I really didn't know how long it will take. And since the first time that I'm doing this, I was worried that it would be too long, so I'm glad that we are not on time, but we're going to still another 10 minutes. Okay, so this is ready. Now, when we put the water, we don't want way too much water when we cook this, because then it can get very, very mushy. Mushy is not a bad word. It will be as delicious, maybe even more delicious than if you use less water. It's only about the appearance, but more is better than less. If it is less and you made a mistake and you see that they are not ready yet, you just add another cup of boiled water and let it cook for another half an hour. It will be perfectly fine. Now we want to set them there.
Did you boil water?
No, yes, I did.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. I did boil water. I thought about it just a minute ago. It's going to come up quickly. I'll tell you this. Growing up, I didn't eat any of these. I ate zucchini, stuffed zucchini. And the reason is my grandmother, may she rest in peace, she used to do stuffed zucchinis. The stuffed zucchini, you need a special tool, because they buy thin, small zucchinis, and there is a tool that you insert the zucchini. You go twist like this, and then you can take out the filling, and then you fill it with the meat. I really loved it. I hated the peppers. And the reason is, growing up, we didn't have those fancy bell peppers, orange and yellow, that are sweet and delicious. We had dark green peppers that were actually bitter. I didn't like the pepper ones at all. Nobody in our family made the onions. This I learned later on, before I came here, from my auntie. I have a Moroccan aunt, and she also taught me how to do the grape leaves. But the feeling is the same, regardless of what you use. So I'll tell you this. What we want to do, we want to cover them. When I say cover them, I mean cover them if you're going to use one layer. If you're using 2 layers, then you don't want to cover 2 layers. So I'm going to set them a little bit separated like this. I'm going to put a little bit water inside so it will come up. Okay, I'm going to put just a little bit water just to bring the paste out. I already put here almost a cup of water. We didn't use 2 cups of rice, even though I was supposed to do everything. So, oops. And then we put the onions like this. And this is going to break anyway. So even if you see here a little bit that wasn't mixed very well, like this, once it boils, everything is going to be mixed together and it's going to be very nice. And we put these, and we put this one, and we put this one. And actually this is a bigger than what we needed, but that's fine. Actually, we can do it in 1 layer, that's actually very good. So look what we have here. The peppers are much taller than the onions, and definitely taller than this. So what do? If you're going to cover the peppers with water, the onions and the grape leaves are going to be soup. We don't want that. So again, we made holes. I'm not sure what height we made the holes in the pepper. So I'm going to stab the pepper underneath. Here. So this way it will get everything. As a general, I would say, this is really, really unregular, and I don't think that anybody in the world make stuffed vegetables like this, mixed everything in one pot. And the reason is because of the height. I would strongly suggest either using fill the peppers, only peppers, and then you have a regular height, or use only onions, and then you get maybe a layer or 2, or grape leaves, and then it's very easy. You can see 1 layer or 2. When you fill it, this is what you want to think: how much rice you used, and how much moisture is inside. Moisture, we call it water, and anything else that has water in it. As a general rule of thumb, you want for 1 cup of rice between 1.5, even 1.25 cups of water to 2 cups of water at the maximum for rice. But that changes depending how much rice you use. If you use much more rice, 8 cups of rice don't want 16 cups of water. They want actually 13 or 12. So you don't want to put too much, you don't want to put too little. So how do you do it? We used, for 1 cup of rice, we use maybe a 1/3 cup of all kinds of juices. Let's call it from the onion and from this. So we need another 1 cup to 1.5 cups of water. So if I use the dish with 1 cup of rice and the meat and the whole thing, and I filled it, I will make sure that I have no more than extra 2 cups of water, plus whatever we had from the onions and juices that we had, and the parsley. So I will use on 1 cup of rice, no more than 2 cups of water, even less. Now, when you cook it, you see, you start with a high heat until it gets going. We will not wait for that, but you start with high heat until it boils, and then you reduce the heat to maybe, if we have low and high is 10, I would use maybe 3 or 4. Start with 4 and then move it to 3 after half an hour, and put it for maybe an hour and a half. And you can open this, and you will see if it's ready or not. You will feel that it gets much softer. If you want to go on the safer side and you want to set it and forget it, you take the pot, you put it in a preheat oven on 350 for half an hour. You lower the heat to 225 or 250 for another 2 hours or an hour and a half, and then it will be very solid. At the end, I want to say that it may be overwhelming because we did so many things. It was much easier if we only did the meat or only did the veggie. I took maybe too much. This is going to be recorded, and it is recorded, and it's going to be on YouTube. However, each and every one of you, and I'm not sure who is watching, but it doesn't matter to me, If you will do it, or you're planning to do it, and you're not sure how to do it, and you really want to do it, give me a call. I will come to you and I'll help you out. I'll help you to make it. If you know how to make it, or you're comfortable with that, but you have a question, anytime, call me. I would love to help with anything. And obviously, nothing would happen today without Adas. So this is Adas. Nothing would happen here without me and Adas. Obviously, Adas will do that, and then we'll reverse the camera. I would reverse. Okay.
There are one or two.
Lost. Okay.
There are one or two questions and comments.
Yeah. Come again?
There's one or two questions and comments.
Very good. Good. Question, please.
So Roz had said you could do this with cabbage.
Yes. Cabbage is very American Ashkenazi, right? Very.
And then someone asked, Isabel asked, can you use chicken bouillon or beef bouillon instead of the water?
It will be much better. Hands down. If you're using, you're talking about chicken broth? That was the question?
Well, I guess broth or bouillon, add bouillon to the water.
It will be better, because you have, again, these memulaim, these stuffed veggies, are going to absorb whatever is in this liquid. If you put water, it will be water. If you put water and you put tomato paste in it, it has tomato paste. If you replace the water with the bouillon, then you have a much richer flavor.
Actually, I have a question. I've made stuffed cabbage in a pot in the oven instead of on top of the stove. Have you ever done that with this, or?
Yeah. So in the oven, it's better because you don't have intense heat coming from the bottom, and it becomes like a Dutch oven. It's much better in the oven. And then you really don't have to put the potato below, but the potato adds to the. You're going to eat them. So what was the question about the oven?
Well, I just said I've done like stuffed cabbage in the oven instead of the stovetop.
Yeah.
I've done it both ways. I was wondering what you would thought about this.
Right. I think that in the oven it's better. Adas does stuffed onions regularly. She does it on the stove, but sometimes she throw it in the oven. When do you throw it in the oven, Adas?
When I have time. When I'm not limited in time. So
right. You also said that sometimes if there is too much water, yeah. Then what?
Then I stick it in the oven, so it will evaporate.
Right. So if you have a little, if you finish, you see there is too much water there. Even though I'm telling you, don't feel this is not a soup. You want to use controlled measured. So I would say no more than 2 cups of water extra than what you have, or 1.5 cups. But if you have too much, if you feel that you want it to be drier, you can stick it in the oven closed on low heat. Low heat is like 225, 250 for an hour, right, Adas? An hour, 2 hours,
yes.
That heat. Nothing bad will come to it. It will just caramelize and it will be tastier. You just want the starting heating point will be hot, very hot. You don't want to start it at 250, 230. You want to get it going, and then you want to stick it in the oven. If it's only the oven, give it like a high heat for half an hour, like 350 or something like for half an hour, then lower the heat and let it stay in the oven for another hour or something like this, and check on it. The whole house will smell. Once you smell the house, then you know that something good is coming.
How long, if you only cook it on the stove, how long?
So if you cook it on the stove, it usually take 40 minutes, half an hour maybe?
No, an hour to an hour and a half.
On the stove? Yes. So Adas uses low heat, so it takes an hour to an hour and a half on the stove. And again, you want to use the low heat because you really don't want too much that it will get crazy inside, and you don't need it. You want with patience to do this delicious. If you want it very tasty, do this. Now, again, how it will look inside, whether you will be able to see very well each grain, it will be separate, or that it will be a little bit mushy, you don't know. But this, you know what? Let me show you 2 prepared ones. One is with meat, one is with veggie. This is the one with the meat. You see, you can see the shape. I don't know if it's the meat actually. I'm not sure. And this is the veggie. or maybe this is the meat. They really look the same. And you see, you can see the rice, but it's very, very soft. We had too much water on this pot, actually. So I had to let it in the oven. I kept it in the oven for a little bit longer, and then the water just evaporates. You know, you want to keep it a little bit open. You don't want it completely closed. You want it a little bit open to let all the moisture
Steam.
come out, all the steam. Yes. Any other questions?
I don't see any.
Yeah, so just as maybe a very, so everything is going to be on YouTube. You can watch, if you really want to do it and to make it one of your dishes that you normally regularly do, and you've never done it, then stick to it. It's really, really easy. It may have been looked too complicated for various reasons. First of all, this is not a typical thing in an hour to make a whole dish of veggie and meat and to explain. So it's not very coherent, possibly. So if you have any questions, you know, you can call me and ask me or watch it. And if you don't understand, maybe I made here and there an error of saying something that I shouldn't have. But I think I was right with right, Adas. And I have Adas to correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I do want to say to everybody here, if you go to the PBJC website under our events section, there's actually a section called Cooking with Cantor Toren with links to all of the videos of the classes that he did in the spring and the ones that he's doing now. So you can go and watch, you know, any of them over again and easily access them.
And also it's on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube, you write Cantor Toren, I think that's what it is, Cantor Toren, you'll see all the cooking classes. That's the only Cantor Toren that you're going to see. So anything that we have ever done.